Darth Vader as a character is a cold, malicious, calculated, and downright evil man, as he squashed countless lives of men, women, and even children before his grasp. With seemingly no more room for the light in his dark, dark heart, the man known as Vader resembles something more machine than man, as he's capable of the most unspeakable acts known to any person alive. But is it possible that such a monster could climb out of this pit of hatred and let the light in once more? To see the error in his ways and seek to redeem himself from the monster he's become? Is it possible for Vader to seek the light once more and divert back given the opportunity? Is it possible to be Anakin once more? Well, spoilers if you haven't seen the movies, but yes, we all know that Vader does end up redeeming himself in the end, killing the Emperor and saving his son from the dark side. But what about the other 30 some odd years of being Darth Vader? Was there at any point where Vader wanted things to be different? Well, yes. In 2017, a comic book series called Star Wars Darth Vader would be written by Charles Soule, covering how Anakin became Darth Vader directly after the events of Revenge of the Sith, showing his unrelenting anger, his suicidal tendencies, the toxic relationship between Vader and Sidious, along with his enormous guilt. Coming directly off the events of Anakin Skywalker just becoming Darth Vader, Vader is quickly assigned by Sidious to seek out and kill all remaining Jedi and to make his own red lightsaber. Therefore, killing one said Jedi, Vader claims his blade and decides to bleed his crystal on the planet Mustafar, where Vader lost everything. As Vader decides for himself to live in a constant state of pain at all times to punish himself. So taking the blade deep into a cave on Mustafar, Vader would set the blade down and begin the bleeding process. But during the bleeding, the crystal would send a wave of force back at Vader, and upon Vader opening his eyes, he would awaken a long dormant side of his mind, that of Anakin Skywalker, saying aloud, "What have I done?" Taking the blade back and later arriving to his master Darth Sidious's chamber to reveal that he hadn't bled the crystal at all, deciding to instead fight his master and kill him easily, deciding to redeem himself. Later on a distant planet in the galaxy, Obi-Wan would be seen turning around to find Vader standing before him. Obi-Wan would then ignite his lightsaber to engage in a fight, but Vader would fall to his knees and beg Obi-Wan for forgiveness. However, in seeing Obi-Wan's face, Vader would start to see through the illusion, would fill Vader's heart with nothing but more hatred, deciding to still continue with bleeding the crystal, and remain on the dark side of the Force, seeing several visions that would lure Vader into questioning the truth behind the dark side, later arriving to his master's chamber to reveal his new red saber. Beyond this point, Vader would proceed to hunt down and kill several Jedi that had escaped the Purge, and upon pretty much wiping out all of the Jedi remaining, Vader no longer had a goal except to understand the dark side. So with his master Sidious commanding Vader to solve a political matter for him, Vader would deny it surprisingly, and instead request that he be given a planet, the planet where Vader lost everything. Mustafar. And after requesting for Mustafar, Sidious would be curious but oblige upon his request and bestow upon Vader with several gifts. One of the gifts included was Padme Amidala's personal spacecraft given to Vader to remind him of his tragic past. Next thing, while Vader is on his way to Mustafar, we see glimpses of the dark side and how Vader sees himself within it during his meditation. A dark center with nothing but darkness all around itself as well, but with little glimmers of light fading, resembling how Vader's hope is all but dwindled away. As Vader soon sees a vision of his younger self, but further approaching, his face resembles that of Vader's helmet in such an eerie panel, which I interpreted as Vader so far down the rabbit hole he just simply can no longer recognize or remember who he used to be at this point, until getting interrupted by two officers riding alongside Vader, serving as the contractors hired to design Vader's castle on Mustafar, telling Vader that they will be entering Mustafar's orbit at any minute, to which Vader takes control of the ship, deactivates the shields, and dive bombs into Mustafar, turning the ship into a ball of fire. Yeah, these are the suicidal tendencies I was talking about. Vader lands the once pristine spacecraft on Mustafar, now scorched and battered, nearly killing the two officers on board, but on the bright side, Officer Bren at least knows what Vader's aesthetic is, while Vader immediately enters the cave where he bled his crystal to further investigate why there's a strong connection to the dark side on Mustafar, while the officers start developing concepts for Vader's palace to no avail, until Officer Bren walks back to the spacecraft to continue her work, only to find something most unexpected, with Vader later arriving to find Officer Bren dead and the other officer wearing an ancient Sith mask. Flashback to Sidious bestowing another gift to Vader, the Mask of Momin, one of the darkest of Sith Masters to ever be, but long forgotten, gifting the Mask of Momin to Vader as Momin explored unusual paths of the dark side, just as Vader does now, deeming the mask inspiration to Vader's crusade. As this officer, now a vessel of Momin, wearing the mask, shows Vader schematics of Vader's soon-to-be palace. After this, Vader would use the Force on the mask inside of the cave, only to be met with a burst of the dark force emanating from the mask, showing flashes of Momin's life as a child, creating obscenities using animals and referring to his horrid abominations as his art. Later on in Momin's life, he would show groups of people his art, but people would refer to him as a monster and shun him. But strong with the dark side, a Sith master named Lady Shaw took Momin in as her student to become a Sith apprentice. However, Momin thought himself second to none and killed Lady Shaw after teaching Momin all she could, and after killing her, he'd seek more power and knowledge. And later in Momin's peak Sith years, he'd attempt to bring a world to the brink of destruction, but freeze time the moment before happening permanently so that the whole galaxy could see his masterpiece. However, the Jedi would intervene and Momin would instead perish, and not too long after, end up forgotten. Once the visions of Momin's life ceased, Vader would regain control of his mind, and put the helmet of Momin on one of the people of Mustafar to be a vessel for Momin to build Vader's palace. As Momin would tell Vader that this planet holds within it a gateway to the other side, and with his help, Vader can reunite with his beloved. So with that, Momin's work begun, constructing palace after palace to try and hold the gateway open to the other side, but it would turn up failure after failure. And with each failure, Vader would kill each of Momin's vessels, just displaying his anger issues, until the 9th design proved to be better than all the rest, turning out to be pure perfection on Momin's part as the door to the other side could finally be held, as the one true Momin exits from beyond the other side whole once more. Not too long after Momin being whole once more, he would seek to betray Vader and regain his power, as Momin would begin to fight Vader saber to saber, saying that Vader thinks the dark side serves him, it obeys him even. But if Vader is all powerful, how come he's a stub of charred meat inside of a cape? As he slashes Vader, besting Vader in saber combat by severing Vader's robotic arm from his body. However, before Momin could deal the finishing blow, Vader asks if he could really claim his beloved beyond the door, and distracted, Momin tells him that it is possible, but the dark side would never let him in, until Vader slams one of the cave pillars into Momin, killing him instantly, leaving nothing else left than for Vader to follow his destiny and enter the gateway, abandoning his physical body as his astral form enters the gateway, walking forward through this astral plane to find his mother in the distance, witnessing visions of Anakin's unnatural conception, then flashing to his life as a child on Tatooine, seeing the shadow of what he'd become, then back to the astral plane, walking through a flaming desert of moments in Anakin's life long forgotten, walking past each significant moment from Anakin's life where Anakin felt true unconditional happiness, a complete reflection of who he is now, until his path leads him to a Jedi temple that resembles the one of Coruscant, approaching to find projections of numerous Jedi all slain by Vader. And no other way forward than through the Jedi, Vader ignites his blades, leaping towards the Jedi, killing each of them effortlessly all over again, until he'd be the only one left standing with a clear path through the temple, entering to find Obi-Wan fighting Darth Sidious. But at this point, Vader no longer cares and blasts Sidious with lightning, obliterating Sidious, proceeding further into the temple, till he'd eventually find his beloved Padme, reverting from his dark astral form back to Anakin Skywalker, telling Padme that he can save her if she takes his hand, begging Padme to take his hand. But the sad thing is, Padme no longer recognizes the man Anakin has become, because to her, the man she's looking at now is unrecognizable compared to the man she fell in love with, as she falls back from the balcony to kill herself. But Anakin, unable to accept the fact that she doesn't want to live with him anymore, desperately tries to save her to not let her die again. But the dark side of the Force strikes and kills Padme, causing Anakin to revert back to Vader and relive the same loss all over again. But in the distance, something glows, breaking through all of the darkness, as a man shrouded in light walks forward, reaching for his belt, igniting his saber, filling the entire plane full of darkness with light to balance the scale of the Force, with Luke Skywalker blasting Vader back, returning to his body, and with the failure of being unable to save Padme again taking over, Vader would destroy the gateway and accept his life the way it was from then on, that he will now and always be a monster in the eyes of others, and never again be Anakin Skywalker. I hope y'all like this story, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the flip side. God, Vader's astral form is so fucking rad.